Okay, hi people, it's Angela, Power Disney Angie, angelascashes.org. On a very delayed part two, this is Friday, you might recall last Sunday, I recorded an interview with Lithuanian siblings who had suffered multiple abuses from very young childhood. And we planned on doing a part two just a couple of hours later. And here we are 5 days later, and it's almost too much to believe what transpired. It turned into an international incident involving the CIA, involving G.C.H.Q, stroke MI5, 6. It just went crazy, incredible death threats and all sorts. So I'm going to hand you over to Aaron. His sister at the moment, we're not going to engage with at the moment, and we solicit your prayers for her safety. But I'm going to have Aaron just tell you a little bit of the craziness that ensued. Now, Aaron's sister maintained it was nothing to do with the interview. She wanted to disclose with her face and name, and she'd waited over 20 years to disclose. And she maintains what happened afterwards was not connected. But in my opinion, sadly, there is a price to pay for disclosing. I'm not wanting you to feel, oh my God, I can't disclose. It could get scary. It's more damaging to stay in the secret than it is to come out into the public arena. So I'm going to hand over to you, Aaron. Can you tell people as much as you're able? I know you're still in trauma. Can you tell people as much as you're able? Like I never got the part two was supposed to be your disclosures of abuse from early childhood, including
parts of it maybe actually.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll hand it over to you to talk about what happened since Sunday, and then maybe we'll circle back and talk about probable drugging in your very early childhood and multiple abuses from early childhood. Over to you, Aaron.
So after the interview on Sunday, she went and told her husband, who worked for secret services,
Yeah.
and it looks like Lithuanian and American secret services.
Yeah. So CIA. Yeah.
And Lithuanian secret services,
Yeah.
state secret services, yeah, like
Okay.
MI6. And so he's in reserve now. They can call him whenever they need him, and he's done incredible things before in his life. So anyway, she told him about the interview and about her disclosure, and he went a bit ballistic with her. He didn't like that. And then he told her to not to talk to me again.
Yeah.
And she said, look, he's my brother. He's like my best friend all my life. And there is no chance I'm going to stop talking with him. So he went ballistic. Uh, so my sister called me with a video. Um, it was 2 days in a row. She was calling me with a video, and it was just like he was more and more antagonized by the fact that she's still talking with me. And then so it was 28th of August when he was drunk and he gone ballistic. So he started threatening with me to kill me. He started death threats, and I'm like, oh yeah, sure. So by the way, he beaten up my sister as well after that. And when she was calling, her face was swollen, and So there, I'm on a video call with my sister, and he is on a call to his mafia mates that live in England, somewhere Midlands, north of Midlands, but they have their network all over England. So I uh, I'm quite sure there's a few around where I live. I'm not sure if he knows my recent address, but he knew my previous address, so I guess he gave them that. There's a granny that bought that house. So I don't want anything to happen to that granny. But I did inform the police, and I just got in a car and ran away. Ran away for a couple of days, stayed in a secret location, and stayed on a call. The police kept calling me. It was real serious, and so now I'm under close police surveillance. My phone number is connected to this case, and they obviously are following Facebook profile, and well, because it's easier to do that. Everyone's on Facebook. So that's what happened. This is the second time in my lifetime that I had to run for my life because of my sister.
Yeah, tell me the first time.
The first time is when she was gang raped, and she had to save that other girl, and I had to run with her child, which was in part one. That was the first time I had to take all because it's mafia and they were coming. And so I had to save myself and my, at that time, 2 years old goddaughter. And so I just grabbed the child, grabbed the photos and documents, any evidence that it's our house, and just ran with my little child, wherever random.
Did your sister come? Did your sister come with you?
No, she went back to save that girl. So,
So when your sister came back in the middle of the gang rape, and
yeah.
she told you, you just have to trust me, I've got to go back. So you fled with your goddaughter.
Yes, and I was furious that she's going back, but
yeah.
And I have to take the child and run for our life.
And how long did you stay away for? Where did you run to?
So I know the town very well, and we were in Vilnius. And as I was born in Vilnius, obviously I know the city very well. So I knew where to go, so they won't be looking for me.
Wow.
And because it would be so, they couldn't think of those places, so I knew where to go. This time is this is the second time where so-called secret services husband called the mafia killers on me, because as he told why my sister she got real frightened. So while we are on a video call, he is calling them, giving them my address, my description, my husband's description. So they were coming. They called him back, and he gave them more details about me and my husband, and then I left the house, and we drove anywhere where our eyes could see, just any random direction. And about 1 hour later, we just got to this secret location we planned. We decided we're going to. That took us about an hour to get there, and I received while in the car, actually, we were still driving there. I received this phone call from a company that there's some problem in my household. What problem is that? And I'm telling I'm telling the guy, uh, I don't have problems in my household, and if there was a phone call pretending it was me, it was not me, it's a fraud. So he wrote that down and put the phone down. He wrote down, he understood it's a fraud. So looks like
was his number private number, or did you have the number that he called from?
it's police and police.
So the phone call from London, was it from London police?
It was no, it was from London number from I don't know to unlock.
But do you have that number? Like, did he phone with the number withheld, or do you have the number?
No, he phoned with a proper 02 London number.
Okay, have you given that to the police?
I can't remember. I was in such a stress.
Yeah, that's important. That's important. It's encouraging that it wasn't a withheld number.
I think I did because the police called me again and again. And I was telling them absolutely everything. And that I have a suspicion that they were at the house an hour late after we left the house.
Okay.
And they called that company to, open our doors and lock the doors. And they called me because I'm registered and that my husband is in this particular address, and they're calling, obviously because I'm registered to vote as well. And it's like for companies like that, it's easy to double check, who to call.
Okay. So I'm still mystified as to who this company was that rang you and said, "Oh, we've had a report of suspicious
problem and some issues in your household." What issues?
Yeah. So I hope the police follow up on that.
It was an Indian guy.
Yeah, I hope the police follow up. Was it a security service? Was it G.C.H.Q? I hope.
Or was it just random company trying to sell a nonsense?
I doubt it. Well,
I doubt it because when I told them it's a fraud, they understood me straight away.
I hope that the police investigate that thoroughly to find out, is it a coincidence that an hour after you flee to safety that there's reported a disturbance in your home? That needs investigating, and it's encouraging that it wasn't a withheld number, and the police definitely need to follow up on that. And if you feel strong enough, you should call that number back and say, okay, I'm a little bit calmer now. Please tell me in detail who contacted you, what did they report? You see, you don't know if it was to verify your new address. You don't know if it was, because I want to make clear that the brother-in-law, when you refer to the mafia and then you refer to secret services and CIA, there's an overlap because some of them are the same thing.
Yes, and I think it is the same thing. Yeah. So when I reported to police, giving them all this information, so I gave his, name, surname, email address, phone number. I think I gave them his Lithuanian home address as well. But they said, well, you have to get in touch with Lithuanian police. But I said, look, that's my sister has to do that. She's in Lithuania, I'm not.
Yeah, you're in England. Yeah, you're in the UK, and your life was threatened in the UK.
Yes, and he called his mafia friends in the UK.
Yeah. So basically, there was a contract hit. I want to put a bit of context here, if I may, and you can edit this out if you like.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
But the context I want to put is that the brother-in-law of Aaron was saying, whilst Aaron was on a video call to his sister, he was saying, British intelligence services and the CIA owe me a favor. I did a contract killing for them in the past. They owe me. So I can very easily call in the favor and have you, Aaron, extinguished.
Yes, exactly.
And the other point I want to make is that when you gave his full details to the British police.
They
They
found
went
him in their system.
They found
They
him in
found
their
him in their system.
system and they went straight into top gear. You didn't just run for your life. You were advised by the police,
Yes.
you need to get out of there. So I've dealt with a lot of survivors that have reported, death threats and so on to the police, and they get no response. Because of who your brother-in-law is and who he's worked with and for, the police went into top gear.
Yes, there was surveillance around my house. My threat to murder may case, protocol was submitted, and my phone number is connected
They
to
went
that.
they went into top gear. They told you get
Yes,
out of
and
there.
they told me you only need to dial 999, and you don't even need to say anything. We'll
Yeah.
be right there.
Yeah. It's called rapid response.
Yes.
It's a thing that can be done for credible victims in danger, and it's usually in place for 12 weeks. It's called a rapid response status. And that means if any phone call comes from you or your partner, they don't even need to hear you speak. They send police within minutes, which is very difficult to get. So the point I'm trying to make is that your brother-in-law was known to the British authorities. They knew who he was, and
They know who he is. They have him in their system.
Yeah.
And
And
they said they will inform Lithuanian police,
Yeah.
but they can't tell if they will react.
Yeah.
Because he works for Lithuanian secret services as well. So.
But also, didn't they tell you they would inform the CIA and MI6 or
Yes,
MI5?
that's what they told me. That looks like, I don't know, Interpol.
Yeah.
Interpol's here. They said they spoke with CIA, and
See, that's incredible.
because
That
it
is,
looks like that came up in their system, when they
it
checked.
must have done. It must have done. There was
So police doesn't say things like that easily, that what, on your case we spoke with CIA, and now it's fine. Where you're on, rapid response, and they just kept calling me, getting more details. They of course spoke with my husband, of course, to get more details as well on that. So my sister only causing trouble in my life. I keep running for my dear life.
Yeah, but you love her. You saved her when she was 5. I'm getting annoyed because there's like a hair on my camera, but never mind. You saved your sister's life when she was 5 by hammering on the door and screaming. And I'm sorry you saved her life and your goddaughter's life again when she was 20 or 21 and had been gang raped. And I'm sorry that this keeps happening to you, that you keep having to put your life at risk for the sake of your sister. But there's a saying, greater love hath no man than that he lay down his life for his friends, his loved ones. So you've done, I salute you for doing that. This will be at least the 3rd time. And I know it makes you angry, and especially because domestic violence survivors are the hardest survivors in some ways to support because they don't leave, they keep going back.
No, and she doesn't want to call police.
Yeah.
She's afraid to call police.
Yeah. I worked with a family member that was in an abusive marriage for 20 years, and it took her about 5 times to leave successfully. It's gaslighting.
Yeah, and she kept calling me. I had to block her.
Oh
She
God.
kept calling me. I said, and he's yelling at me, they're coming, they're coming.
Yeah.
And then she sends me a message, a very short message saying, after like, I don't know, 24 hours or so, she sends me a short message. You can go home now. He called them off.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you being serious?
Yeah.
You can't just. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I just blocked her number, and she said, you can block me from my life. I just blocked her Facebook, so she can't.
Oh God.
She's blocked her Facebook, so she can't video call me, because in this antagonistic situation, my husband's life is in danger, not only mine.
Yeah.
I said to her, I sent her voice messages, and I said, "How dare you? How dare you put my husband's life in danger? He's got nothing to do with this."
And tell me this, in the communist countries, I know going back what age were you when you first left Lithuania?
I was, uh, I lived in Spain for half a year.
At what age?
And that was in Twitter. I was 24, and then in April I turned 25. So
Okay.
yeah, 24, 25 I was. And then after that, yeah, so after half a year, I came back to Lithuania. My career shot back up. So I stayed in Lithuania until 2010.
Wow.
Which was 2 years after this 2008 crisis.
Which crisis? Which crisis?
The financial crisis, 2008.
Oh, 2008. Yeah, the crash. Yeah.
And
Poor butterfly.
I was fine. I was fine. My business was doing well because of posh clients. But my boyfriend at the time, he kept losing his jobs, and his wages went lower and lower. And he just decided he wants to leave Lithuania because it's going to be crazy for him.
And was he Lithuanian?
No, he's Russian, half
Okay.
Russian, Polish, yeah. But
Okay.
they speak Russian in families.
But is it fair to say that even in 2010, these countries were very anti-gay?
Depending on where you go, in the second biggest city, Kaunas, for example, or in a third biggest city, yes, definitely extremely homophobic.
Okay.
Extremely.
Okay. And I've made it clear ever since we first connected that my convictions are that almost everybody I've met that is lesbian or gay is also a survivor of abuse, and I do feel it's been an engineered agenda. You and I have been so honest about this, but I also am reminded that when a contract was put out on you, and a credible contact, according to the police, who contacted Interpol and CIA, and no doubt G.C.H.Q, it was a credible death threat. Is it true that in 2022 you are also an ideal target, also because you're gay and your partner is from a different culture and so on?
And also, yes. Yes, certainly, because all he was yelling, he was calling me a faggot, and all kind of horrible anti-gay insults, and sexual swearing, and
So if there's a degree of Nazism still existing in Eastern European,
well, his mother is Belarusian, and Belarus is fighting Ukraine with Russia, and so you can imagine Belarus and Russia is like copy paste real bad.
I just know that with Azov, there's still a huge anti-gay, anti-black. Like there's a huge
especially in Russian and Belarusian cultures. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I just want to make sure I've made all the points. So the minute your brother-in-law's name was put into the British system, even just the police, it came up.
It came up and they contacted CIA straight away, and they called me back.
Yeah.
30 minutes later, telling me that Interpol knows, CIA knows, will contact Lithuanian police. And so when they were telling me that, I realized, yeah, they found him in their system.
Of course they did, yeah. And you should have had an update by now if he's been interviewed, if Lithuanian police did anything. How often are you getting updates?
So the police stopped calling me 2 days after, 2 days later, they stopped calling me. I told them how long I'm going to stay in hiding, where exactly on that, if anything happens, you know.
Yeah.
So police knew my exact location.
And you took a chance. You took a chance, even giving your location to the police. And you have to consider that even though the police responded superbly to you, they told you this is a credible threat, get out of your house. And then an hour later, you get a report of a disturbance at your house. And then the police liaise with where you've run to, and they get that police force to contact you, and they told you it's okay. You know,
Yeah, then local police from that town contacted me. Yes.
yeah. And then they put in rapid response status. They haven't installed CCTV for you, which they should urgently. But the point I'm making is that even though the police responded very well,
very swiftly as well.
yeah,
Very swiftly.
but you have to consider that it's not in intelligence services interests to admit
And to disclose their agents.
to disclose their agents, and we're not saying his name here, but to disclose their agents and to admit whether it's the CIA or G.C.H.Q. MI56, to admit, oh yes, we hired a contract killer to carry out a hit, wet works.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So he made the killing, but looks like now he's not on a call at this particular moment. He's not on a call by Secret Services, but
Okay.
he's using Secret Services contacts
Of
for
course.
his personal gain, which is to
Yeah.
kill whoever he wants.
Yeah, which is what he said to you. He said, I did a kill for them. They owe me a favor. I'm calling it in.
And he called them, then they called him back, and he was giving them my description, my name, my address, my husband's name and address, everything.
Yeah.
And obviously the phone number, and my sister Elena was you know, she was on a phone call with me, and he was on a phone just behind her.
Yeah.
And she started crying, I don't want you dead, I don't want you dead. I said, well, what can I say? He's a real piece of work, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want me dead. It is your bloody fault in a way.
Well, it's not her fault. I remember saying to you, well, when we've talked throughout the week, that even though Alana said, oh, it's nothing to do with the interview, it's nothing to do with the disclosure, he regularly beats me up.
It is when she told him about the interview and how she disclosed, his head gone ballistic, you know.
And the point that I was making was that of the three major rape incidents in Alana's life, the one that they didn't want to come out was that three spooks, you know, probable intelligence agents, stroke mafia, gang raped three women, one of whom they threw out of a ninth floor window, who is still alive but paralyzed.
But paralyzed, yes.
Yeah, so it may have been that information that Alana was never supposed to speak about, which she hasn't for 20 years. But on Sunday, she decided she wanted to. And I want you to make it very clear that you did not coerce her for that disclosure.
No,
I
no.
had never spoken to her before.
No, because she keeps. We talk a lot. We call each other a lot every time. Every time she doesn't work, we are in touch, and like best friends, you know, like all the time.
Yep.
And she keeps weeping. She keeps, you know, crying about the past. She can't let that past go. All the horrible things. And then she has a bit to drink, and then it gets worse. She starts crying. And but I asked her, would you disclose with me? We can disclose together. She's like, and she knows that I'm working with you.
Yeah.
So she said, certainly. If it helps other victims, I said it would help other victims massively.
So you asked her to disclose?
I sort of asked if she would she, and she
Because
said,
she keeps disclosing to you and she's stuck in the trap
and
of,
she's stuck in a circle, and I'm a bit tired of it,
yeah.
because it's over and over and over again for
Yeah.
more
So
than
it's
three
like, are you
decades.
going to go public with this, or are you just going to torture yourself for the rest of your
Keeps
life?
spinning, yeah, yeah.
And
So that's what this.
the other point I wanted to make was because of who these three men were that gang raped the girls, including throwing one out of a window, because of who they were, it may be that your sister has been shadowed ever since to make sure she didn't speak out, because
Yes.
you told me that her current husband was a secret service agent for Lithuania and the CIA, and he was based in the UK for 8 years, and he claims he did a contract killing whilst there. And then also you told me her last husband works for NATO.
uh, that boyfriend, last
Oh,
boyfriend she
boyfriend,
had,
last boyfriend.
he works for NATO. Yes.
So it seems like she's been surrounded by spooks ever since that gang rape when she was 20, 21.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and her uh, God, first husband. He was trafficking drugs to United Kingdom from all over Europe. So
So
what
this looks like
she
Black Ops all the way, Black Ops.
I can't remember if we told this in the first part, that on their wedding it was in a five-star hotel. So this but mafia he was trafficking drugs for. He owns a lorry company, so that's how he was trafficking drugs, big amounts, from Spain, from all over Europe to United Kingdom. And uh, so on their wedding, she's sitting there with a white dress. This gang of mafia invites them to their wedding table in this five-star hotel. And but I don't know, something was wrong there. Maybe some drugs were missing or something like that. And they were telling to his bride, my sister, at their wedding table that they are going to rape her, they are going to gang rape her if on her wedding day is if he doesn't do this and that.
Oh
So
my God. So even at her first wedding, there's a gang.
the mafia gang,
Ah.
that's drug cartel. Yeah.
So really,
Drug and guns, yeah.
from she went silent. Now she says she disclosed to her mother about the rape aged 5 when she was 18. Her mother didn't believe her. She never spoke about it again until now she's 43.
Yeah, my mother believed me when I was 18 and disclosed about my 2 rapes.
We were supposed to address that in this part 2. Are you
Yeah,
able to
so
talk?
first time I made a mistake in the part 1. I want to fix this mistake. I was 9 years old. The guy from Children's Home was 16.
And I wanted to make it clear that the person that brought the 16-year-old to your home was your older sister, because she was working in the children's
She
home.
was working in the Children's Home as a nurse, and she was feeling for them.
Yeah,
She
which is
knew
understandable.
she was seeing what's going on there. She was seeing them children being delivered to other people, the pedophiles. She was seeing that kind of horrific things, how they were sexually abusing each other because it was sort of normalized to them,
Yeah.
because they all were raped by
Yeah.
pedophiles. And so it was normal to them to, like Elisa and Gabriel,
Yeah.
to,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was just a child, 9 years old. So at 9 years old, I was so little, I looked like 6 or 7. And so he started sexually, you know, touching me and doing all kinds of things. And but my mom would invite him for Easter, for Christmas, and every single time he comes, or just hook up for a week in summer. every single time it comes, it keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. And
He eventually raped you.
no, he didn't rape me, but he was doing a hand job, which I didn't know
Uh-uh.
what he's doing. I'm 9 years old. I have no idea what's going on and why it's wet in the end and what is going on here. And things like that, you know.
Okay.
And then finishing himself off and things
Well,
like
that's
that.
sexual assault. There's no doubt about it. That's sexual assault. He's 16, you're 9, you know, and with hindsight, your older sister should have known better than to bring such a wounded, damaged teenager into your home with a baby brother,
Yeah.
looks years younger than he is.
So then that lasted 9 years.
Oh, God.
So I turned 18 and
How did you avoid the final full-on rape? How did you avoid that? Or could you have,
I didn't know what sex was. I was a virgin.
but is it
I didn't
possible?
know what this was. Then after a few years, after like 3 years when I was 12, I thought it was normal that he's doing that to me. I know that he's doing it secretly when no one can see,
Right.
but because every single time he's doing it, he's coming over and he's doing it, it became normal to me. I didn't know it's not normal.
Okay. Okay. And is it possible? Because I remember your sister saying at 5 she didn't know how she ended up naked in a locked bedroom without her brother there. Is it possible you were drugged and don't remember being raped?
I don't think he had drugs.
Okay.
I don't think he
Okay.
had drugs.
Okay. So you had really 9 years of assault from the age of 9 to 18. And then at 18, you identify as gay and you have curiosity and you say to a colleague in the college you're in, I'd like to meet some other gay men. And he says, oh, you mean you want a hookup? And you're like, no, I don't want sex. I just want to meet some other
I
gay
just
men.
want to meet another gay person because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know any. I
I
don't
don't
know any
know what
people.
I don't know what's normal. I don't know who I am. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
so
of
that guy that you asked to mentor you,
he
it,
worked in Germany as a prostitute for three
yeah, yeah, yeah.
years.
But he ended up raping you, right?
Both of them, both of them, and there was lots of blood. And
Uh,
I don't want to go
no, please don't. Please
too
don't.
graphic.
No, please don't.
It was awful. So then, so I ended up in the bathroom, bleeding away, and it was just awful. Then early in the morning, I just got the hell out through the door, and I was so afraid. I was so afraid to meet another gay guy, and I was so afraid.
Yeah, if this is what
Uh,
being gay is, it hurt. I'm
if this is
bleeding.
what being gay is since 9 years old, and now I'm 18, and my first sex is two guys raping me like crazy.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Aaron.
And so that what happened. And then there was this guy, I was still 18. It was in the spring, almost turning 19. But so I met this guy. He is a very famous artist. And so eventually we became sort of boyfriends. He is married, but his they sort of live that kind of life with his wife, the artists. And so he was very caring. He would bring me presents for wherever they go. Then he's
He
then
brings you
he's
back presents from his holiday with his wife. Oh my God.
yeah, no, from their project when they won uh, the Venice Biennale with my photos. And
So, okay,
but
okay.
I also they were also taking he was also taking pictures of me naked and then making them 2 meters, 3 meters to make their art as drastic as it
So he
gets.
was pimping you out as pornography, really, artistic
Not as
pornography.
pornography, not as pornography, but as shocking, as a model for shocking art,
Yeah.
through nudity.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah.
but he loved me. But he loved me, and then because of him, I started to believe in love.
How much
And
older? How much older was he?
I was, I think he was 36.
Yeah, that's quite a difference.
Yeah, but he was good looking. He looked like 28, you know.
Yeah.
So
One of my, I just want to say, I don't know why at this point, but one of my worst abusers between the ages of 12 and 15 was very buff. He worked out. He used sun. It was before the age of sunbeds, but he had a machine to make him look always suntanned. He was always fit and healthy. He was a scoutmaster. He was very highly regarded in his profession. He was a mentor for the youth. It's like it's not unusual to meet an abuser that looks after themselves and looks years younger than they are. This is part of the obsession. If you look at Nygaard and you look at Jeffrey Epstein and you look at so many of these abusers, yes, they look 20 years younger than they are, you
and
know.
I with the two guys that raped me, the prostitute and his older friend. That older friend was 41, 42,
And you were 18, yeah.
and the virgin. And so it wasn't this older guy's apartment. And I remember it very clearly, how it looked, what was where, and all kinds of stuff. So then a bit later, 3 months later or so, he contacted me online on another uh, gay dating profile, which was just trying to investigate how to meet a normal gay person.
Yeah.
And so he got in touch with me, and he didn't recognize that it's me.
I'm the one you raped, yeah.
He didn't recognize it. It meant nothing. It meant nothing.
Yeah.
He just forgot me the moment I left. You know.
Your audio went there.
Yeah, it looks like he just forgot me
You forgot, yeah.
the
Just
moment I left. Yeah.
yeah.
And and I recognized him immediately. So I went to see him, and he said, I'll make a dinner. Okay, make a dinner, I'll come. I was furious. I was furious and very strong because of my curiosity at that moment. I went to see my rapist.
Yeah, that I've
And
heard. Yeah, that's so brave. I that's so
yeah,
brave.
and I told him, yes, there was a column in the middle of your bedroom. There was this and that. All of that was gone. He refurbished his flat, but he goes, how do you know? And I'm like, do you remember that time when that guy brought me in and you both raped me? He's like, oh, I'm so sorry that you feel this way. I said, how do you think I would feel when I was bleeding my heart out
Yeah, and your ass.
and my ass?
Yeah. And the sad thing is that many of their victims, they gaslight them into believing it was a loving encounter. They gaslight them into, oh, I had no idea you didn't want that. I
That's
thought,
bullshit.
yeah, I
Yeah.
thought I was showing you love. I was introducing you to the
Oh,
world
yeah.
of,
What kind of love is that when I'm bleeding for 2 hours in a bathroom?
yeah. Okay, and is there anything else? I thank you for being
So
so,
that's when, so after this as well. So I, I was turning 19 almost. And so I was studying in a college and living in a dorm, and I invited my mom to my dorm room. Got a bottle of cheap wine. I didn't have money, a student, and put a candle up. My mom could tell you something. And first, I go, my mom gay. She's like, darling, I know. So when you were 14, I sent. She sent a question, in a newspaper. There were you can ask secretly a psychologist, So she asked, what does parent do when they know that their son is gay and but they don't talk about it? And so she'd been doing that but never told me.
But
So
the thing is, what she didn't know, even though
and I
she
told
sent
her,
off a
and I
questionnaire,
told
she
her,
didn't know you were being molested and groomed from the age of 9
and
by
I
this
was
person.
blaming mom for that, and I was blaming mom for that she was so blind for 9 years. And she so loved him. She treated him like her own son. She so loved him. And I was blaming her that she was blind.
Yeah.
And but then I sort of managed to forgive mom, and I told her what happened. She was in a massive shock. She started blaming herself that she was so blind. And then I told her about this huge rape. But then I told her that I met someone that is nicer. So I'm sort of getting over it, which I was not actually.
Yeah.
And
Because this is the first time you've properly disclosed as an adult, right? Because I've known
yes,
you 2 years and you've told me bits and pieces, and it's taken you 2 years to even you weren't planning to disclose. When Elena was disclosing, you were undercover as a
I'm
translator.
still
Yeah.
as I'm still not. I was still not sure. I was still not sure if I'm ready.
And how does your husband feel about you going public? I know Elena got beaten up by her husband for disclosing. How is your husband about what you've done in the
My
last week?
husband is an absolute angel. He he supports me. It's my decisions, my decision what I do with my life.
It's very rough though. It affects everybody. Like my
He had to
desire.
run with me for his
Yeah,
life because
absolutely.
of my sister's homophobic husband who's trying to kill me,
Yeah.
and God knows what they would do to him. It's just, it's just. I mean, of course it affects him, but he even in crazy situation like this, he's still very very supportive,
Okay.
very
You're very
supportive.
lucky. You're very lucky to have that. And I know, like I said, I supported a family member in a 20-year domestic violent marriage, and I gave up many times because she would come and tell me blah blah blah, and then she would go back to him. Then she'd come and
She
say blah
wouldn't,
blah blah.
and she wouldn't help herself.
And I know somebody else who's been in women's refuges, and she said it was unbelievable. Every couple of weeks, all the women were gone back to their abusers. They would come in with black eyes, broken ribs, broken bones, the children traumatized, and then 2 weeks later they've gone back. It's just
Yes.
devastating.
So a week before that, her husband, I was in good relationship with him, even though he had a burst of, you're fired and you're this and that. He had that burst before. So I told my sister, you can do whatever you want with him. I don't need to talk to him. Okay. But I,
She
I,
needs to get away.
I saw
The
him, I
next
saw his
meeting,
true
she could
face.
die. She could die.
I saw his true face, okay? But a week ago, a week before this death threat, he contacted me. He because I don't know how good, but he thinks I'm good at computers, and he asked me to help him with his brand new brand, with his website and TikTok, whatever.
Oh, yes, I
um,
forgot.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, and he is selling underwear. He's selling ladies'
Lingerie,
underwear,
lingerie. Yeah,
lingerie. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then, so when I told my sister that, oh yeah, we're doing this and that, I had to call him and speak with him about it because we're developing this thing. And she got furious. Why does she get to know it from her brother, not from her
No,
husband?
she didn't know anything about it. Yeah.
And he is selling ladies' lingerie. It was a trigger for her, after being raped many times. And so it
I
triggered.
have I have family that are multimillionaires who have a lingerie company. So it's not always, you know, like women wear lingerie. That's the truth. It's not always a shady business. But I just wonder if there's one last thing you're willing to tell me, which was you spoke about that the Lithuanian army or military tried to give him a new assignment in the light of this current war. And they told him he would get very, very well paid, but he would be expected to murder women, children, civilians,
Yes, he
whatever.
just, but yes, about a month ago, they called him because he's still a secret agent.
Yeah, he's on
In
standby.
he's
Yeah,
on standby reserve, yeah. And so once you're secret agent, you're either dead or you're secret agent.
you're still in.
You're never out.
Yeah, it's like
So yeah,
it's like
he got this
mafia.
job. He got this job. The secret services called him. They were getting a squad together of SEALs, of secret SEALs, and which they literally go and wipe out the village, and then take the village. Like literally, for example, Russia took over a village, um, and they need to. Ukraine needs to get it back. So then they would go wipe out everyone in town because they're extremely professional, and then only then Ukrainian army comes in, and then they pretend it's Ukrainian army who did that when it was, say, international secret services
Wow,
set up the
wow.
situation.
But would
And
they pretend it was Ukrainians that did it, or would they try and say it was Russians that did
that
it?
nobody would know that happened. Nobody would know that they even
So it
exist.
was a secret. It was a secret hit squad that was to go
Yes,
in and
secret
wipe
hit
out.
squad nobody would know that they do even
Wow,
exist.
wow.
And
And as far as
with
you,
balaclavas, with all this stuff. And they were offering 8,000 euros um, a month, and 8,000 euros a month is a very good wage, even in England, actually.
yeah. And I know you said to me that you tried to tell him, don't do it. It doesn't matter
And
if it's
he's
eight
like, "I'm
thousand.
going. We need money." I said, but you will come back. You were enough." But I told him, you were in Iraq, you were in Afghanistan. What is wrong with you? Do you really want to come back this damaged again? I mean, but this may be the last time.
Yeah. Well,
And
he's already damaged. He's already beating his wife up twice a week. He's already
yeah,
putting out contract hits on his brother-in-law, who the week before was building websites
and
for
he
him.
was all for ready to go to this squad, for
Yeah.
8,000 euros a month, but he has to kill everyone he sees,
Yeah.
everyone in his
Yeah.
sight.
And you managed to persuade him. You told him
I
you'll never
managed
be
to
able to.
persuade him that my sister and her 8 years old daughter, who loves him very much, that they need him. They need him and don't go. And on the other hand, I told him, if you go, you will come back a
You'll never
monster.
be the same. A monster. He's possibly already a monster.
Yeah.
He's possibly already. But I want to encourage you to get update. The police are supposed to give you an update regularly. If it's been mounted to an international incident, a credible death threat, a hit squad, blah, blah, somebody that works for special services,
Yeah.
you need an update. Did they question him? Did they visit him? Did they arrest him? What's going forward? What?
Is the CIA or Interpol are
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
anything?
yeah. You need an update. Absolutely, 100%. But I salute you for your courage. Absolutely. Your internet's breaking up. Wow.
Yeah, because it isn't,
No, your internet is going patchy. That's strange.
okay.
Your internet's breaking up. Aaron, I'm gonna finish this now. Your internet
Someone.
completely crazy. And I'm gonna ask people to pray for you and your husband, pray for your sister, and let justice be served. And I pray Yeah, that just dropped out. I pray this whole interview stays up. We just lost internet connection. I'm going to end this, and please, please, please pray. And if you can help, please help.